think I'll just share briefly about a couple. Y'all care if I sit down? Is that okay? I'm not lazy. I feel more at home talking to y'all. This kind of a conversation. But I think for me, the most important thing for me to remember in ministry is that we are just planting seeds. It's not our. We can't save anybody. That's God's work, right? And so. And that discipleship comes through relationships. And so I'm so thankful for Joe and Sherlyn. I've known Joe and Sherlyn since I was 6 or 7, I think. And they came into the community and came into the school and worked with us. And then just they moved into the community, got to know my mom, which is that's a big bonus. If you know my mom and I'm acting up and I know you can go let my mom know what's going on with me, I'm gonna act right with you. So they knew, was friends with my mom. And so through this timeline of me becoming a young man and doing the things that I become engaged with, which I won't share it all now, but if we have time later, if anybody want to talk about it, I'll gladly share. But God just took me through some things. I had a kid, my first daughter, when I was 17 years old. And like Joe mentioned, my dad was not present. I had no idea of what a father was. But here I go with this little girl, and I'm like, I got to do something different. I'm in jail, in and out of jail. What am I going to do? So I'm making plea bargains with God, like I can hold up on my end at all. Like, God, if you get me out of here this time, I'm going to do everything right that it's a complete lie. And then, so I'm like, okay, well, I got to be present. So only other guy I knew of a father at all was Joe, just seeing what Joe was once Sherlyn started to having kids. And then later on, our pastor, JT. And so I'm like, okay, I got to do something different. By this time, I got 2 daughters, not married at all. But I want to be a dad. I'm going to be present. And so I just get with Joe and I say, yo, all of the lifeline down, from 7 to 19, 20, 21, Joe was just chasing me. I would be avoiding Joe. I see Joe coming, I'm going that way. I don't want nothing to do. My family moved out of the neighborhood. Joe would still pull up to a whole nother side of town and take time to meet with me. And so, but by that time I had an amazing relationship with Joe, and I knew he was going to point me to the cross, but I also knew the stuff that I was involved in, it felt good, right? Like it was, I'd rather be doing this. The church thing is boring. And now my grandfather has been a deacon of the church as long as I've been alive. And so I heard it from him as well. But Joe was just consistent, man. He came into the neighborhood. He would be at the parks. I knew him as a familiar place. I told Ryan, I said, the difference with Joe was from anybody else that was trying to come to our neighborhood and minister to us was he worked on the relationship, right? And so he got to know me. He knew where I came from. He knew my family. It wasn't him just coming with a tract to give me something to say. It took the time to get to know us. And through that relationship is why I always say discipleship making happens through relationships. We have to take the initial time to spend with our students and to get to know them and everything that they got going on in order to plant that seed, right? And so really to me, it's just modeling. So I have guys at my house, they watch me with my son Deuce, they watch me how I talk to my wife, and that's accountability even. I got all these teenagers there, they watching me, you know what I mean? And so it gotta keep you on your toes, in line with scripture. And so I really just think that we have to always be remembering that disciple making is a command, not just for the pastor, not just for the elders, for all of us. In whatever situations or areas we are in, there is an opportunity for the gospel to be presented, whether that's at the basketball court, in the grocery store, at the coffee shop, at work, wherever it is. Us as believers have an extreme mission. The world is just falling, right? And it's I heard a number thrown out. I don't know how accurate it is, but something like 2 point something billion people that have gone without hearing the gospel. We have work to do. We got work to do, right? And so I sit here, and I'm so thankful for y'all. I'm thankful for the relationship with Ryan. Ryan has been amazing, by the way. And just getting to know many of you over this weekend. And so I challenge you all as believers as you go out and to get with somebody and make it a point of your business to pour your life into them. God is a redeemer, and I can speak to that firsthand. I was the lowest of the low. Like I said, I was a drug dealer, active gang member. You name it. Just complete. But that was my environment. That's all I ever seen. And even coached at me from the older guys in my neighborhood, even my stepfather, it was all street knowledge of how to survive the streets and navigate the streets. But just like Josh said, I think I was never on a strong road looking for God, but God found me, and He redeemed me of all those things. The testimony of where I come from to where I am now, and please believe I am not perfect at all, but I know God has had his hand on me for quite some time and using me for stuff, and so I'm trying to be obedient. I shared with Ryan last night a couple struggles. Sometimes I think God, you have me in youth ministry. If you saw me over the weekend, I had two of my daughters with me who are now gone back to Georgia for the school year, and so I'm like, why did you put me in youth ministry, God? I feel like I'm abandoning my girls. I miss them half of the year, and I'm spending all this time with these kids. But it's not about me. So it took me a long time to get here, and I'm thankful. I love the work I do. Oftentimes, I hate talking about the financial stuff. I tell Ro and Joe, y'all talk about. I don't talk about the money stuff. Oftentimes, forgetting even just my check. Ro will be like, "Get your check. Where's your check?" I'm like, I didn't even think about it. I love disciple making. I love leading men. I love being intentional. I don't look at it as work. I look at it as being obedient to God, and I love seeing the impact that our ministry is having. So thank you all for just supporting and hearing us out. So, yeah, thank you.